What is going on, everybody? This is Tyrant, and I am back from Summer Slaughter 4. Now, if you don't live in the Northwest and you don't know what the Summer Slaughter is, it is a game series which has been hosted every single year for the past 4 years, and it involves a combination of swap meets and airsoft games. And those two qualities together make it the best game of the year for me, hands down. I have so much freaking fun at these things. I just really like the idea of haggling. So when you combine that with actually being just like in an airsoft community and then also having the option to go out and play games whenever you want, yeah, it's the best weekend of the year for me. This year, however, I actually didn't even play. I got way too occupied running my booth, selling stuff, meeting new people, seeing old friends, just hanging out. Oh god, but it was still just one of the best weekends I've had in a long time. If you do live in the Northwest and you don't know about these games, I suggest you get yourself onto Airsoft Pacific right now and wait around until next year, because it's a great time. It's just a place where, you know the old saying, one person's trash is another person's treasure. It's so freaking true there, because you see people that just, I mean, some of them are just actually looking to get out of Airsoft really quickly so they have stuff to unload. There are people who are on leave from the military and they're finally taking their stuff out of storage and they're just like, okay, I need to sell it really quickly because it's doing me no good. Then there's also the people that are looking to definitely make a profit to turn around and flip it back into Airsoft. But there are also people that are just looking to trade. You know, they just want to ditch an old gun in favor of something new. So it's a great opportunity. And if you're in a place where you actually have the ability to run this kind of a game, I really suggest doing something to host something like this, because it's a brilliant idea. You get a ton of people together, and at any point you can just go, you know what, I just got a new gun today, and I can go test it out right there, because there's a game 50 feet that way. Now, of course, it's a lot farther than that. That would be dangerous. But yeah, this is the fourth in the series. I've been to every single one. The first year only went for a few hours just because our driver got really sick and he had to go home, so we had to get out of there pretty quickly. Second year, couldn't stay the night. I don't remember exactly why, but we could only go for the day. But that time I did do a straight up trade with an airsoft gun, and I was really excited about it. I sold a few things, bought a riot shield. I don't know exactly why. It was just kind of one of those things where a guy came to the event with it, and it was a homemade riot shield, but it looked amazing. It's sadly not here. It's at the Northern Desert Rat Outpost at the moment, which is about 2 hours away, so I can't get it to show you. But yeah, he had it priced at like $80 or something, and then just throughout the day he kept lowering it, and finally he just said, okay, $20 takes it. So I grabbed it. Now we have a riot shield, which I've used maybe once. But that same guy was selling night vision, and I feel like an idiot for this. I saw him selling it, ran back to tell a teammate, and I said, dude, holy shit, this guy is selling night vision. And he's like, okay. And he ran over there and bought it, and I was about to do the exact same thing. So I should have bought it, but oh well, at least it's on the team. So that was 2. 3 was where, like, I really wanted to get serious about it. We packed up all of our stuff. I had made a decision, okay, we're camping at this. We're camping for all 3 days, because it was a 3-day event that year, and it was extremely awesome. We spent the entire time just hanging out, making new friends, trading, selling, buying stuff we shouldn't have, selling stuff we kind of regretted, but the entire time we're just having a blast. The biggest problem was that it was seriously on one of the hottest days I can really remember for that summer. I played for maybe 15 minutes. I had just gotten a new M4. I went and started playing in the game for that day. I think it was like a sector control or something. And oh my god, I just immediately started feeling the heat, and I was just like, no, this is not happening. No, I'm done. Yeah, okay, gun works great. Tried playing in the night game that night, but I have a very interesting opinion on night games. 99% of the time, they don't work, because people don't follow the rules. It's incredibly easy to cheat. And it's just dangerous. Oh my god. Because, well, engagement distances just drop because you don't know where the hell where the people are that you're shooting at. You can't tell friend from foe, so you shoot friendlies. You're sometimes, they say, okay, keep your flashlights on, but people turn them off anyways. That's not to say night games always fail. I know for a fact there are some that are brilliant. I'm looking at you, Night 1 and Night 3. Night 3 is coming up. Zombie games. They're fantastic. Yeah, you've heard me talk about Night 2. But yeah, night games, I was really, really picky about them. So I tried playing in the night game, and like 5 minutes in, I was just like, okay, yeah. I'm with a group of people that aren't moving. They're hunkered behind a building, and they're not doing a damn thing because they're too scared to get hit or run in the night. So, yeah, this is pointless. I'm done. So, I called it, and as did pretty much everyone else at that point. Everyone was fed up with it. But yeah. Summer Slaughter 4. This was an amazing, amazing game, and I really, really suggest if you're in a location and you have the ability to host something like this, do it. It gets a ton of people together, and one person's trash is another person's treasure, and it really, really plays a factor in Airsoft. So, go to this game if you're in the Northwest. If you have the ability to host something like this, I would really recommend it. Yeah, this game didn't really start out that great for us just because of the early wake up. Because we had to wake up about 6 a.m. to drive to this game because we had people to pick up, and it was about an hour and a half away or something like that, just because of the route we had to take to get people. I woke up with a freaking splitting headache, and I was just feeling miserable. Also, while I was laying in bed the night before, I remembered that we forgot to pack a table, and we basically Tetrised the crap out of the trunk of my car. We got everything perfect in there, and that was for 2 people. 2 people completely filled up the trunk of my car and the back seat with maybe a spot for a person to go, and he had all of his crap to fill too. So that wasn't so great of a start, because we're just looking at my car going, how the hell are 2 people filling up this much space? I'll tell you why. 2 tents, because he insisted on having his own tent. 2 canopies, because we didn't want to get sunburned like last year, so we insisted on having 2. Tarps, he wanted a cot, sleeping arrangements, change of clothes. Between the 2 of us, I think we actually had about 19 to 20 guns. Yeah, we have too many guns at this point. It's ridiculous. Camo, vests, gear to sell, gear to trade. It just filled up the car so freaking fast. So, and then as I'm laying in bed, I go, oh crap, we forgot to pack a table. So I made note of it, and the next morning grabbed a table. I don't know how we found a spot for it. We barely managed it. Pick the guy up, and he's just freaking out. It's like, dude, you said there was a place for me, and there's not. So he actually ended up riding up with someone else who took his own car. So that was all fine. We get to the field, we start setting up, and immediately we got people running by our table and looking at our stuff, and I just think it's really interesting like when you see people who are obviously rushing to like get tents set up and get canopies set up, and they're still putting stuff out. There's still people that are just watching the tables, just waiting for you to get stuff set out. I don't know. It doesn't annoy me. I just think it's kind of funny and interesting. But nice people. I sold a gas shotgun in like the first 10 minutes that we were there, which was great because I actually went there with 2 guns that I was determined to sell. One of them was a shotgun. The other one was a double eagle UMP, which was never going to use it. But yeah, throughout the day we hung out, we sat around, and I made ridiculous purchases that I probably shouldn't have. One of them being this fancy little guy. Yeah, I definitely didn't need this, but hey, I have a grenade launcher now. Woohoo! And it can go on something, probably. it was $50, and I've always looked at them, and I've always kind of wished I had one ever since I got to play with one like 5 years ago. Yeah, don't have a shell for it. I bought a shell while I was there, but I guess the entire batch the guy got turned out to be a faulty batch or something. None of them held gas, and they were all just really, really crappy. Oh, yeah. Didn't see this was here. Also ended up with two tan 1911s. They're both pretty much identical. I had a pistol out. It was a SIG 226 by KWA. Fantastic gun, but it's really, really fat, which means there's a ton of holsters it doesn't like to fit in, and also the mags for it are a little bit expensive. So someone comes up to my table and is like, hey, would you trade that for two tan 1911s? I'm a 1911 freak. I love these things. Oh my god. I had two 1911s at one point, and both of them broke. Actually, no. One ended up with a leaky mag, and I traded it as partial payment for an MP7 that I got from someone. The other one did just full-on break. But yeah, these are very, very heavily used guns, but they are still in pretty okay condition. I say okay because they were dirty as all hell, and they really, really badly needed a lube, which thankfully we had some on hand, so that was easy to do. But all inside there, it was full of sand. So I don't know what the hell the kid did with these things. I don't know if he left them outside. I don't know if he took them to the beach, threw them off a roof, jumped on them. But I mean, there is paint on this gun that's been chipped off that I don't even know how you'd manage that. I think it's been put in and out of a holster a lot, is the other thing. With that said, though, the quality of the gun is still great, and I love 1911s so much more than SIGs. So yeah, I was happy to do that. I also went there with two really, really unrealistic goals for what I wanted to get. I said, dude, I was saying to people, if I see this, gonna buy it. Doesn't matter the cost. One was an Elcan for my M249. The other was the Optic top rail, or excuse me, handguard, or not handguard, but handle. Just like the scope handle for the G36, because previously I just had the standard rail system on top of there for the G36C. I really, really wanted the Optic instead, and I knew I wasn't gonna find them. I don't know why. I knew that people that had them probably didn't want to let them go. I start walking around, and I see a freaking Elcan for sale. I offer the guy $50 for it. I take it, and I threw it on my 249, which is sitting over there right now. God, yeah. I'm gonna go get that thing, because I just really like it. Yeah, that's what I ended up with, and I still can't believe I have one. So yeah, that was the first thing I actually got there. And I did actually find the G36 Optic. I found a guy who was selling a custom built G36 with that optic on it, and I asked him how much for the optic, and he said, can't sell it. And then Justin, who was walking around with me, who actually rode up with me, who's a teammate, jokingly said, hey, well, would you trade it for the rail system? And he goes, yeah, sure. I'd do that, for sure. Okay. So, I happened to have a spare one. He ran and grabbed it, came back and did a straight up trade, and now it's on my G36. And I could not be happier, because I've always wanted one of these things. This has probably been my favorite aspect about the G36 ever since I first saw it. I didn't end up with too much else other than that. I grabbed some Magpul iron sights. The rear one I threw on my KWA LM4. He was selling them for like $15, and they're really cool and they're well made. So I figured I'd grab them. Oh yeah, I also bought a Classic Army Sportline MP5 off of someone who was on leave and just really wanted to sell all of her stuff. She wanted to make some cash and buy just like one Airsoft platform just to have for when she came back. But I bought her MP5 and then immediately turned around and traded it for a P90, which was my first AEG, and I ruined it by upgrading it, and I just really wanted to get one again. So now I have one again, so I'm really happy about that. But the downsides of Summer Slaughter. The camping. This was the worst night of sleep I've ever had. I kid you not. So the basic rule was, okay, first of all, I gotta explain the field. Instead of, the whole event took place at a field called Sniper's Den. And it's actually owned by a family, and it's kind of in and around their orchard. And they're very, very protective of their orchard. Don't climb on the trees, don't pick from the trees, just leave the trees alone. Don't go near their house, don't make too much noise, don't leave a mess. It's a really, really picky field. I can understand that because it's someone's actual house. Like, they live there. And it's just kind of one of those places we always feel like we're on thin ice. We always feel like we're going to make some mistake and we're just going to be done with the field. We're never going to have it again. So they set curfews for different areas, which makes sense. Around the house, quiet time was 8 p.m. In the general, what should I call it? Just kind of like the common area where all the booths were set up, all the vendors were. Quiet time was 10 p.m. No, excuse me, I gotta back up. In the campground, quiet time was 10 p.m. In the common area, quiet time was 12 p.m. Or I guess it'd be 12 a.m., midnight. Not a single one of those curfews was listened to. Yeah. Kids were screaming and shouting all through the night, literally until 2 in the fucking morning. Pardon my French. It was the worst because, a 6 a.m. wake up, we were all pretty darn tired. So we went to bed, and I got in my tent, and I started making it, and that was about the time kids were getting back from the night game, and they got in their tents, and they just started getting rowdy and restless, and they were shouting, they were throwing stuff, kids were firing guns, and people kept coming by and just saying, hey, you really need to be quiet, it's quiet time, which of course just made them snicker. When someone tells you to be quiet, you go, we got told to be quiet. That happened a lot. And I'm laying there, and we didn't have room to pack a sleeping bag, so I'm under just 2 really, really thin blankets, and a lot of this is going to be me complaining. I apologize about that. The mat that I had just was really, really thin, so it still felt like I was laying on hard ground. And it got cold. It got unbelievably cold. It's the first time I've actually shivered with my teeth chattering in years. I can't recall the last time I did that, but I was laying there literally shivering. And I laid there from 10 p.m. until 2 in the morning unable to get to sleep because kids would not shut up. And if you told them to be quiet, they just giggled. And the admins were off by the campfire. They didn't care. They were just... They couldn't even tell it was going on. I could have went and got them and figured it all out and just gotten them to be quiet that way, but I don't know. That just felt really naggy, and I was just so miserable at that point. My head was still killing me. So eventually, I got up and actually went and slept in my car, and it was way, way better. My seat was so comfy, and it got so warm in there, and I had my face covered up. Oh, it was so much nicer. I still didn't even sleep that much. I slept maybe 2.5 to 3 hours. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part was accompanying all these voices and giggling and stuff, there was something in the woods. There was some freaky noise coming from like a mile away. And I wasn't the only one that heard it, because the next morning I heard people walking around going, dude, I couldn't sleep. There was a freaking banshee in the woods or something. And then a fellow team member came up to me and was like, dude, I swear I dreamt there was a freaking monster in the woods and it was ripping stuff apart. And I was like, dude, you did not dream that. That happened. Because I got up at 2 a.m. before I went and got in my car. I went to the bathroom and I'm just standing there and I just hear like this. I don't know what the hell it was. I mean, we started thinking, like, is it mating season for something? Is something out there killing a herd of goats, or is it two elk fighting? What the hell was it? We don't know. It was freaky, I can tell you that. We basically just decided it was a demon or a banshee, you know? Just whatever. That's what it was. It was a banshee fight. Because it sounded like it. It sounded horrifying. And it kept us up. It kept a lot of us up. And if it didn't keep us up, it woke people up. But the next day was a lot quicker. We had to leave the field about 3 o'clock, so we only got a few hours to sell more stuff and buy some more stuff. But overall, what I just want to say is that Summer Slaughter is continuously an amazingly fun idea. And I have so much fun just camping and getting to meet new people. Oh, I love haggling. I love it so much. And getting to haggle for airsoft stuff, just the most fun ever. I already want to do it again. And it's ridiculous that it's over already. Because now I have to wait an entire year. 365 more days till next pretzel day. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great night.